Hey everybody, welcome to Carpe Dime, a podcast about personal finance and everyday life. I'm Dusty Simmons, credit union marketing guru and single mom.
And I'm Jamie Davidson, the master of money for Financial Center First Credit Union.
We love love. We love our money. And it's close to Valentine's Day, so we thought we'd do something kind of fun and different. And instead of gush at you about how wonderful life can be, we're going to flip the holiday on its side and talk about how money can affect your relationships, no matter what stage you're in.
Correct. That's one of those things that we all need to talk about, no matter where we are in that relationship. You find that person and you got the love goggles on and you see all the good about them and you can't wait to be with them. You can't sleep at night. You want to be with them every day. And then reality sort of smacks you in the face because smackety smack, right? Because through these relationships, as they progress, things come up. And one of those important things that needs to be discussed is the money.
Right. Everybody's true character kind of shines through, right?
Right. And I think what we're going to talk about today with that is we're going to talk about that money mindset and people's finances and goals and a budget in a marriage that can help them be successful. And then after that, maybe we'll see what happens if
things don't work out.
As we know.
That happens to about 50% of us. So.
Right. So we're going to talk about that. So let's start with, we're in love and we've been dating for a long time and we have our own separate accounts and we don't really talk about money. The first real conversation that a lot of us happens with money is when?
Oh, I think when the big pop the question comes, right?
Pop the question comes. It's really funny because it is that. And I've talked to young men and their first thing that happens to them that sort of knocks them aside is they don't know how much they're supposed to spend on a wedding ring.
And men and women have very different ideas about that, right?
So there's that discussion. And so there's your first delving into the money because it can be a pretty big.
It's an investment.
It's
an investment in your future.
It's an expense. And after that, obviously, comes the what? After the ring comes
that fantasy wedding that every little girl dreams of, right?
Fantasy wedding. We're all going to be little princesses and we're going to marry our prince and everything's going to be great. And that's a great thing. But that doesn't always happen. What happens sometimes is this is one of your next times where your first argument happens what's the argument going to be about?
The wedding budget?
The wedding cost, the cost of the wedding. I know you were looking up some wedding costs there. What did you find on that?
Oh my gosh. So the average wedding these days costs about $26,000. And that's probably, I would say, a fairly conservative number. If you're living on the East or West Coast, you're probably looking at almost double that.
Right. At least, right. $26,000. Now I've got two daughters and the thought that I'm going to have to fork out $26,000
per child,
$52,000. Woo! I tell you, my anxiety just went up.
In the next 10 years, Jamie.
Oh, no. Did you hear that, dads? You better start saving now. First they get you with the college, and next it's going to be time to get married. So, start putting in their ear, elope, go away, elope, we love you. Or we'll give you a down payment for a house instead of paying for the wedding.
I mean, that's a good point. That's enough for a down payment on a house. Wow.
Right. Get them set up for success in life, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are. We're talking about these relationships, and not everybody gets married. A lot of people just have long-term relationships, but when you do that, you've got to talk about the money. So I think the first step you're going to have in this is your money mindset. When you have a significant other, is that money mindset. What is their money mindset? Are they a spender or are they a saver? As we've talked.
When do they want to retire? There's more things than just spender saver, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Spender, saver, retirement thoughts.
Mm-hmm. How do you want to live? Where do you want to live?
Correct.
How many kids do you want to have?
Well, that's another one when you're a man, you're usually like none. And that discussion comes a little later down the line, right? So, you really need to get in your partner's head and sit down and have that conversation and go over those things. What is their money mindset? Do they want to save or do they like to spend? And because sometimes before you even get married, you're so far apart on that, it's almost impossible to have a successful marriage.
And the love goggles just kind of allow you to look past all that it should be something you address.
Yeah, love goggles wear out a little bit, right? They get a little tarnish on them and they don't see through with the way you used to.
I picture googly eyes coming out.
Right. So you need to sit down and you have to have that conversation about the money mindset is. Okay. What's our plan here? The next one is, you really want to sit down and disclose finances. When we're talking about disclosing finances, we're talking about, okay, are we going to have a joint account? Are we both going to have separate accounts and then have one joint where we take the bills out of? The other one is
we all come with our own past, right? We all come with our own debt, whether that be credit card or college loans or, alimony that you're paying to somebody else or child support. So, those are things we probably don't talk about on early in a relationship.
Yeah. Hi, how you been? Hey, so you pay child support? How much is it a month, right? That's right. The one we don't have.
How much discretionary income do you have?
Right. So it's really about sitting down and realizing that because that can put a big burden on it. If I'm the person that went to college and has no debt, and then I marry somebody and they have a lot of college debt, that can make me resentful.
Right.
It can make me resentful or them resentful, vice versa. You really have to have that discussion and figure out how you're going to knock that out. Hey, if we're both bringing debt, are we going to put it all into one pile and we're going to pay it down together? Or are we going to have separate accounts?
Yeah.
And you're going to pay down your debt. I'm going to pay down my debt. That discussion is not an easy discussion.
No, but having it early keeps you from having a lot of stress or arguments later on in the relationship.
Correct. And that's the way to start. Nobody wants to talk about debt, but you've got to start. And the sooner you do it, the better off you are. The other one is financial goals. Hey, do we want to buy a house? Mm-hmm. Do we want to live in an apartment?
Downtown, yeah. Where,
like you said, do you want kids?
Right.
How many vacations a year are we going to go on? Mm-hmm. That sort of things. Have those conversations. When do we want to retire? When you're 24 years old, the idea of talking about when you're going to retire is sort of foreign, right? But when's the best time to do that, Dusty?
Temp check. What kind of summer are we having this year? A family road trip summer? A beach bum summer? Or a wake me up when the sun sets summer? With Instacart, choose your own adventure and skip the shopping side quests. Where available, you can get ice cream delivered to your hotel, sunscreen to the pool, or cold brew to your bed. Well, door, in as fast as 30 minutes. Wherever you find yourself this summer, you can get the goods. Download Instacart for free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Minimum $10 per order. Excludes restaurants. Additional terms and fees apply.
Getting the smile and confidence you've been dreaming about, all from the comfort of your home, isn't a total mystery with Byte clear aligners. Just don't be surprised if all your friends start asking, "What's your secret?" Begin by ordering your at-home impression kit today for only $14.95. Byte clear aligners are doctor-directed and delivered to your door. Treatment costs thousands less than braces, plus they offer flexible financing, accept eligible insurance, and you can pay with your HSA FSA. Get 80% off your impression kit when you use code WONDERY at Byte.com. That's BYTE.com. Start your confidence journey today with Byte.
Retire? Tomorrow? Yeah. No. Have that conversation? Oh, yeah. Obviously, before you just want to make sure you are on the same page.
Yeah, sooner the better. Really setting up those life expectations of where we're going through our life. And when you're young and you're early in that relationship, it's so hard. It seems so hard to have that conversation. It's so foreign because it seems so far away, but it's really important that you're sitting down and you're lining up, hey, let's set life goals together. Because if you're setting them together, it makes it a lot easier. Because if not, that's where that financial stress comes in, because one person has an idea of what the future looks like and the other one has an exact opposite.
Okay, so we've gotten through the wedding. We've agreed on all that great stuff. Now we're in the thick of marriage. 10 years later, you got kids, you got all that stuff going on. What are the biggest things that you see that happen with families and money?
I think a lot of times is the overspending, because we're trying to keep up with our neighborhood, keep up with the neighbor, the Joneses.
Or you're getting back into those old habits that you maybe agreed upon, that we're going to do this thing together. And then all of a sudden life gets in the way and you start getting back into old habits, and you start spending or saving the way that you used to, and you're not having that conversation anymore.
Right. And it's key to have that conversation. And when that happens, a lot of times the conversation doesn't happen. What happens is an argument happens.
Right.
And it's really about trying to remove the emotions and sit down and say, let's have a conversation, which sounds easy. But as we know, the reason why divorce happens a lot is because of the finances. And it's not an easy conversation to have.
Yeah, 22% of marriages end in divorce because of money differences.
Yeah, that's staggering.
Right?
When
you think about half the people get divorced and 22% of them, it's because they can't agree on money. It's a big issue.
We say this in every podcast, and I hate to say it, but it's the B word. It goes back to the B word, sitting down and doing a budget together and taking that time to work things out. For some reason, it's the last thing we put on our list.
As life goes on and you got, you're working and your kids are in things and everything, life gets in the way. Life gets in the way of relationships and, of course, money.
Always money.
Yeah.
It's always money. If we could just take care of that, right? The idea is if we had all the money in the world, we'd be fine, right? But we know that's not the truth.
That's right. The more money we make, it seems the more money problems we have. So I think it's the opposite. I think the simpler when you were young, and it's just the two of you, it's a little bit easier than when...
I think there was a rapper that said that, more money, more problems. So let's talk about some of these things that might actually end up ending that relationship.
Money issues that lead to divorce?
Yeah, or financial secrets possibly, right? Yeah.
You're going to give us, though, the top financial secrets that lead to divorce, though, right?
Right.
2 or 3?
Yes. Number 1 is overspending.
Overspending.
And hiding it.
Like
So-
I bought that pair of boots and I put them in the closet hoping you'd never see them.
Yeah, it's the pair of boots that comes out and you go, are those new boots? Oh, no, I've had these.
I've had these.
Just because they've been sitting in the closet for 3 months doesn't mean
Right.
they're not new boots. Just because you didn't wear them, obviously they were new boots 3
Right.
months ago.
Or, even worse, you put the new boots on the credit card and then you hide the credit card statement,
Yeah.
hoping someone's not going to see that.
And that's number 2, hiding debt. You've got the debt, you're creating the debt, and you're hiding it.
Mhm.
A third one is what we would call dark accounts.
I learned the hard way what a dark hole account was.
What's a dark hole account?
So tidbit, I had a friend who I didn't know that was something that the husband had. He was keeping money to the side for gambling or, going out or whatever. And I mentioned it to the wife that, he could just, use money out of the dark hole account. And it caused a big fight. And I got in trouble.
You got in trouble for his dark hole account.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
So, it's really about hiding that money and hiding the spending habits and acquiring more debt and not talking about it. So,
And going back to that, there's nothing wrong with having your own money, agreeing to, you got your money, I got my money, and we have our money.
I speak with many people, and for them, that's their answer. And it's a successful answer. They have their own bank accounts.
Yeah.
And then they might have a joint account that they put in to pay for the monthly bills. And that works very well for them. Some people, the idea seems foreign and they would never do that, but it does work for some people.
I see a lot of my friends who are in second marriages or just relationships where they're living with somebody and we're, a little more established. And that's absolutely the way they operate because it's comfortable and it makes sense.
Right.
Keeps the stress low.
Well, then there's that time when no matter how many times you talk about it and have that conversation, and no matter how much you loved each other, now that the love goggles have worn off, that eventually sometimes what happens?
Unfortunately, sometimes you get divorced.
That dirty word, that dirty D word, divorce.
Yeah.
The dirty word divorce. So what we want to talk about now is, some things to help you get through that divorce and what we've come up with, a few ideas for that. When it comes time for that divorce, and very few divorces end amicably, but if you can, that's the best way to go, right?
Well, it is. And it's probably going to be the thing that costs you the least amount of money. If you can agree on most of what you need to divide, that's where the majority of the cost of actually getting a divorce comes into play is in legal fees. So if you can be amicable, best way to go to save yourself some money.
Right. So the first financial stress of divorce is the cost of the divorce, right?
Right.
Because the longer it's strung out, the more it's going to cost you, yes?
Hopefully it won't cost you as much as your wedding did based on that $26,000.
There's the answer. Whatever you decide to spend on the wedding, put that amount away for the divorce.
Yeah. So... but yeah, it's absolutely a big cost, and you can shop around for that.
I think the second thing, that's a challenge when it comes to divorce is dividing the assets, everything that you've created together, and now it's time to split everything up. And a lot of people, when they think about that, what do they think of? They think of the one main thing is the what?
They think of your liquid assets, your house, your cars, what you have in your 401ks,
bank accounts.
Right.
A lot of people that I've talked to, that's where the straining point is at the end. The house and the car and the bank accounts, yeah, but the 401k.
Right.
Because we're very...
well, we're protective of that. That's our money that we've saved over time.
As I'm putting my fingers in quotes, our money, my money, my money, it's my money. Because, the wife was going to take care of the kids for 10 years. That wasn't her money. That was my money. And that's one of those sticklers that can be a stickler in a divorce. And it's really important that you have that conversation and try to do the best you can.
And it's also really important if it is, looking like it's going to be a messier divorce, that your legal rights when it comes to that. If you're living in a at-will state, it's going to be 50-50 no matter what it is. If your state laws are different, you need to look into that and you need to know what you're entitled to.
Right. When you're going through that divorce and you're finally divorced, there's some things you need to take care of financially, right?
Yeah, there absolutely is. And I would say really you should be preparing for those as you're preparing to go through the divorce, not after. And the biggest thing I would say is to get financially prepared. If you've had joint accounts your entire marriage, you need to get your own account and you need to start putting money into that. You need to establish your own emergency fund.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you if people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else? Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today. What makes a life a good one? Is it the adventure you have? Or the friends you find along the way? Maybe it's pursuing your passion while striving to protect, defend, and save what you believe in every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? In the Coast Guard, we think it's all of the above and more, but you'll have to find out for yourself. Visit gocoastguard.com to learn more.
You shouldn't count on what you guys having in savings as something that's going to be divided and going equally. You should start saving for that when you can. You need to make sure you take care of things like insurance policies and beneficiaries on your retirement accounts. I cannot tell you how many people I've heard, they've gotten married a second time, someone passes away, the spouse is expecting to get the life insurance policy, and the husband had never changed the beneficiary,
Right.
and his ex-wife from 30 years ago gets the benefit of the insurance
The
policies.
law always goes to the beneficiary.
Absolutely. So I know it's a lot to take care of, but there's checklists out there. If you're going through a divorce, there's checklists you can find online that says, okay, these are all the financial things I should take care of before I go through my divorce. And it's very helpful because, as you know, divorce is just overwhelming.
Right. I think another part of that is, when it comes to debt, where you have your names in the same on credit
You
cards.
got to figure all that out. You're on the deed to the house and they're on a deed. You got to get all that stuff divided and credit card debt divided. And it's not fun, but it's something you got to go
Well,
through.
I've heard horror stories where one spouse tells the other spouse, "Oh, I'm going to take care of that and pay that,"
Yeah.
while their name's still on the account, and they just don't take care of it, and they ruin their credit score.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is put yourself at risk because you, unfortunately, trusting somebody you've trusted a really long time. Things happen. You need to make sure that those things are taken care of without just trusting that someone else is paying that. You don't want to ruin your credit.
Another one that comes up, the third one that comes up with divorce, a big cost is we're talking about the children. So tell me about some of those children expenses. Number one is the obvious one is
Child support is obviously the biggest, but there are lots of things that come up regarding your children, and any legal professional is going to give you advice on this, but lots of things that you need to talk through when it comes to how you're going to take care of your children jointly, and things like who's paying for the doctor's appointments, or who's carrying the insurance, or how are we going to pay for extracurricular activities if they want to play travel sport. When they get old enough, how are we going to take care of if they need a car and their car insurance and the cell phone? So lots and lots of things to think through. And that's just until they get old enough. And then you have the whole conversation of how are we paying for college?
college, right? On the children, there's other things that I've seen as well. It's not just those things, but it's how am I going to spend on the children when I have to spend it as opposed to my ex-wife? How would she spend on the children? We see a lot of problems there where when they go to one spouse's house, they're spoiled rotten, and everything's bought for them. Money's not an object. Where when they go to the other parent's house, where money is an object and it's an issue, they don't get the same attention,
Same treatment, yeah.
And that really creates an issue not just for the ex-spouses but also for the children.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was something, having been through a divorce myself, that I didn't encounter till the first holiday. And that's okay. It's not like that's something you need to talk about when you're going through the divorce, because there's so many other things to take into consideration. But we had that conversation at the first holiday, and we set expectations for, we're going to spend X and you're going to spend X. And we even still do joint presents for the kids. So, you gotta do what works for you when it comes to those things, but you absolutely need to know what the other person's expectation is, because then you're setting some sort of expectation for your children.
One way to protect yourself, Dusty, is how?
That dirty word, prenup.
Ooh, gold. I ain't saying she's a gold digger, but hey, get that paper signed, right?
Right. We always talk about that as like this dirty little thing, right? A prenup is so you don't trust me, I don't trust you. We don't think we're going to stay married, but there is absolutely nothing wrong, in my opinion, if you have money and you have assets you want to protect, or you have a business, getting that prenup and having that conversation in a way that's respectful and making sure that you're taking care of yourself and the other person.
Definitely. I agree there. So, and last but not least, let's talk about the post-divorce budget, because it's probably going to be a little change of life when it comes to that. Would you say?
I mean, for me, absolutely. It was a change, but it was also freedom. It was also the opportunity to finally do what I wanted with my money. It did take some time. First of all, give yourself time, because it's not going to happen overnight, but you do need to look and see, can you maintain your lifestyle the way that you have it? Do you need to make adjustments? Do you need to move? Those things are all okay to tackle them one at a time. But if you don't tackle them and you don't go to the budget process, guess what happens?
What?
I mean, you're going to overspend and you're going to find yourself in debt. You're going to find yourself changing your, reducing your credit.
You're going to be calling me and asking me to come help you.
Exactly. And and if that's where you are, that's okay too.
That's
Get
an
the
okay
help.
thing.
Get
Ask
the
for the help.
you
Get the
need.
counseling. It's out there. It's free. Give me a call. I'll help you out. Okay. So what are we going to challenge our listeners to?
Oh my gosh. We're challenging you. We're going to go back to our sappy love theme here. But, we really want you to fall in love with a healthy, rewarding, balanced, stable financial life, whether you're by yourself or you are in a relationship. You can have it all. You just got to make it a priority with that word we've been talking about.
That dirty word, self-discipline. And remember, no matter what your financial status is or where it's headed, it's okay to ask for help. Here at Financial Center, we're here to help you. Just get online, go to fcfcu.com, financial education, or reach out directly to me, and we'll do what we can to help you with your financial lives. That's our goal, is to make you laugh a little bit, but also help you with your financial lives. I just want to thank Dusty again for being a part of this today. And we've got our commander over there, CC, Courtney Cooper, running the sound system. You guys got to see her. She's just, she's strict. So with that, happy Valentine's Day. Wait.
I had a special request from some of our employees who are listeners. A big shout out on Valentine's Day to all you Financial Center employees who've been listening. We love you. Carpe Dime is presented by Financial Center First Credit Union and produced by Jamie Davidson, Dusty Simmons, and Courtney Cooper. At Financial Center, we're a credit union, and in fact, we're a 6-time national award winner in the category of adult financial literacy. So we know what we're talking about, and it's our goal to help you improve your financial life. To learn more about us, visit fcfcu.com. And if you like what you hear today, subscribe from wherever you are. Thanks for listening.